Very good morning student. This is your class for economics, and in this class we are going to continue our chapter number 7 of unit number 3, that is aggregate demand, aggregate supply and related concepts. Alright. So now we are going to study about the components or constituents of aggregate demand. So in that, the following are the components of aggregate demand. First is private consumption, second is private investment, third government expenditure, and last is net export. Alright, so the total of all this is aggregate demand. As we have studied in the unit number 2, that whatever we are demanding for, if we are demanding for something, that means we are purchasing that thing, and if we are purchasing that thing, that adds to our demand. If we have demanded something, that's why we have purchased something, and that's why we have spent the money. So our expenditure directly leads to demand, or we can say expenditure is equal to demand. That concept we have already discussed in the unit number 2. Now let's start with the meaning of private consumption expenditure. So basically it is the sum total of all the money that is used for consumption by the household. All the expenditures that is incurred on goods and services, why? For consumption purpose. And who is consuming this? Household of the country. That will be referred to as consumption expenditure. So if any household is using his or her income in consuming various products and services, that total expenditure will contribute toward private consumption expenditure. That will be indicated by C, consumption. Alright. Next is government consumption expenditure. Like household do, government also do some expenditures on consumption. Like if they have made a school, now they need to have a water cooler in that school, so that will also contribute toward the government consumption expenditure. They have to demand for various goods to meet the needs of the society. They are purchasing for private consumption expenditure are to meet the need of ourselves only, but government consumption expenditure are to meet the need of public. Alright, this is known as government consumption expenditure. There is no logic or no set of principle for these. They are just incurred to serve the public needs. Alright. Third is private investment expenditure, that will be indicated by I. Now, if any private household is spending money on capital goods, on which? On capital goods, that will be investment expenditure. Now which type of capital goods? Long term capital goods, like if someone have purchased building, machinery or some house over there, then that will be private investment expenditure. Simultaneously, if someone have saved their money in the bank, that is also investment. If you have purchased share, that is also investment. So all these things will contribute to private investment expenditure, that will be indicated by I. Okay. Last is the net export. Now what is the net export? As we have discussed earlier, that export minus import is the net export. This total expenditure of net export will also contribute in the aggregate demand. Now let's see how. If you are exporting something, which means you are selling something abroad, and if you are importing, that means you are purchasing something from abroad. If there is a difference between the both, suppose you have imported more things, you have demanded from the foreign country more things, then that demand will contribute to your expenditure, and if it is contributing to your expenditure, then it will be contributing toward your aggregate demand itself. Alright, so this will also create a part for aggregate demand. So we can say that aggregate demand is the sum total of consumption that household is doing, consumption that government is doing, the money that we are saving, and export minus import, that is net export. Okay, now one more. Suppose I earned 100 rupees. Out of that, for 40 rupees I have purchased something, which means consumption expenditure of mine. Okay. For 20 rupees I imported something. I have imported something, that will be under net import, and I have saved the rest of 40 rupees, that will create my investment. Okay. And the rest, that expenditure done by government toward me, will also be a part of it. So this is the formula C plus I plus G plus net export for open economy. But Keynes said that for closed economy the formula will be different. What happened? That in closed economy there is the control of general public only, and that means that there will be no government intervention in a closed economy. Along with that, if the economy is closed, that means this economy is not importing or exporting goods from the foreign country, which means either I will consume goods from the country I am living in, or I will save my money. That will be my aggregate demand. That's it. Okay, so this was the concept of aggregate demand. The next is the propensity to consume or our consumption function. Okay, so propensity to consume or consumption function is the ratio that measures the functional relationship between income and consumption, which means they are just a ratio of whatever income we are having or whatever consumption we are doing. That will be the propensity to consume. Okay, that is a ratio between the income and consumption of a particular household or a particular country. It indicates how much of the income will be spent on consumption of goods. This will show that how much part of our income we have consumed. Have we consumed half part of it? Have we consumed full part of it? That will be indicated here over. Okay. Now the next is, this relationship is generally expressed by C. C stands for consumption expenditure is equal to F. F means function of income. Y means income. So it shows the relation of consumption expenditure with the income. Propensity to consume does not mean that mere desire to consume, but actual consumption that takes place or is expected to take place out of varying level of income. Propensity to consume is not the desire to consume, it's actual consumption. When we are actually consuming something, that will be propensity to consume, and that will be at various level of income. That doesn't mean if I am having 12,000 of income, then what level of expenditure is mine, what level of consumption is mine, that will be propensity to consume. No. Propensity to consume means how much I will consume if I am having 10,000 or 12,000 or 15,000 or 20,000 of income. That will be propensity to consume. That at different level, how much consumption of mine will be there. That is a different concept than consumption, because in consumption we study that how much we are going to spend on purchase at a particular amount of income, which means my income is fixed and now what I am going to purchase will be my consumption. But consumption function or propensity to consume will show that how much I will consume on various income level. Say my income is 50,000 rupees, then I will spend 30,000 out of it. If my income is 80,000 rupees, then I will consume 40,000 out of it. This particular schedule will be showing the propensity to consume. Okay, I hope you get that. Now there is an example. Here we have consumption function, level of income are given, and my consumption is also given. Here is a graph which is drawn on the basis of this data. Graph is based on this data. Here is the income shown and here is the consumption shown. Now you see that this line of aggregate supply and this line of consumption, now this line will remain constant. Now you will save that. Why? Because this line shows the supply line, and supply line is always constant. Okay, supply line is always constant. Now the consumption is shown by this data. By taking into consideration this data, I have drawn this line for the propensity to consume or my consumptions. Alright, now I have made this graph. That means this is my total income and this is my consumption. If my total income is less than my consumption, then I am having this savings, which means whatever saving I was having earlier, I am also consuming that. But if I reach that break-even point where my income will be equal to my consumption, that will be this point will be C equal to Y. C equal to Y means consumption is equal to income. This is known as break-even point. Below break-even point, I am consuming more than what I am earning, which means I am consuming from my savings itself. Okay, but if somehow my income is higher and my consumption is lower, then there will be savings for me. There will be saving for me in this gap. And below that gap, whatever consumption I am having from my income level, that will be consumption. That will be my consumption basic. Okay, this is my income. I have consumed this much income and this much I have saved. Simple graph. Now this line shows propensity to consume. Propensity to consume. How it shows propensity to consume? Because it is showing that if I have 150 crore rupees income, then I will have this much expenditure. 200 crore income, this much expenditure. 250 crore income, this much expenditure, and so on. which means this line is showing my expenditure at various levels, not at a particular point of time. So this line will be called propensity to consume, but if we say this gap, this will be called consumption only. I hope you get this concept of propensity to consume. Now there are two types of propensity to consume, that is average propensity to consume and marginal propensity to consume. Okay, now let's discuss about the average propensity to consume. It is simply the ratio between total consumption expenditure and total income. When we are considering the total expenditure and total income, and then we are making the ratio of it. C stands for consumption, Y stands for income. Consumption upon income, that too in total consumption divided by total income, the ratio will be average propensity to consume. Simple. Now let's discuss about marginal propensity to consume. It is the ratio of change in the consumption that takes place due to change in income. My income have changed. Now how much my income have changed, and in the result of that how much I have changed my consumption, that will be marginal propensity to consume. Suppose earlier my income was, here is the example, let's take into consideration this. National income increases from 150 to 250 crore and the consumption goes from 100 crore to 150 crore. So we will take into consideration only the changes. How much is the change in consumption? 100 to 150, 50 crore. So we will write 50 divided by change in income, 150 to 250, 100 crores of change, so 100. So now this ratio is showing a marginal propensity to consume because only margin of changes are shown here. Okay, I hope you get the concept of marginal propensity to consume. In the next class we are going to discuss about the marginal propensity to save. Okay, have a very good day.